you're exactly where you wish to be. Even if you think you are not happy where you are. Because if you're truly uncomfortable, you can't even sleep. What I often hear from people and see from people is that they get very motivated for short periods of time, and then they'll just go back to playing video games, and they're actually not unhappy with their life. They only become unhappy for a few hours now and again. That's when they talk about how hard they want to try. But in general, they're actually perfectly fine with their life. If they wished to be anywhere else, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. By extension, they would be exactly where they wish to be. Whether you're successful or unsuccessful, you wish to be where you are. If you say to a man, do you want to be bigger? They'll all say yes. But do they really wish for it? Oh, you'll take it for free. Well, you'll take anything for free. Taking something for free is very different than going out there and earning it. So you're as big as you wish to be. You're as rich as you wish to be. Because truthfully, when you wish for something with all of your heart, never in history has the universe or God failed to give it to you. So then the logical extension of this mindset is you have to analyze and decide why you wish to be where you currently are. And two, if you want to change that, where you actually genuinely wish to be. Everyone will say they want to be have $100 million, but it's not true. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. Inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times. I never stand a chance of ever getting rich. Where's my pillow? I'd go to bed at night as a teenager. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant. I couldn't tolerate it. And I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah, back to the TV. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin and you decide you want to be a loser, that's fantastic because my hotel room needs cleaning. Somebody needs to do that shit. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I'd do whatever it took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit. But you want to do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you deserve it because it's the decision you made. Have fun at McDonald's. I have no sympathy for these people, zero. So when I say people are lazy, they go, I'm not lazy, I work hard every day. You work 8 hours a day? If I'm awake, I'm working. I don't take a second off. I don't take a minute off. I don't rest. I don't stop. None. I'm either asleep or at work. That's it. I'm online working the entire day until the second I go to sleep, I am at work. And you are at home competing against me and you want to watch a movie tonight. If you have a duty to your bloodline and you truly love your parents, how can you still be sitting at home playing video games being a lazy piece of shit? That, in and of itself, it should be endless motivation. If anyone's watching this, if you love your parents, you can't be a loser anymore. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser because you are absolutely not being correct. You must prove yourself to your bloodline. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. God loves to see that. Person who goes, I don't have to prove anything to God. I don't owe all of my ancestors any effort. I don't owe them anything because I want to play video games. These people are losers. You should walk through earth with force inside of you. Peasants have never felt like they needed to prove anything, but kings felt like they needed to go and conquer land. But the peasants, oh, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You're a dummy.
The world doesn't owe you anything. That's the first truth you need to tattoo on your soul. You weren't born with a crown. Nobody is going to hand you the throne. Success is not a gift, it's a bloody conquest. And if you're not ready to bite down on your own pain and use it as fuel, you're done before you even begin. You want to build something real? Then get real about what this world actually is. You either rise or you're stepped on. You build or you're owned. And I know deep down you felt it. That burning, unspoken urge to do something massive with your life. That quiet frustration when you look around and see average people smiling like they've won when they've settled for crumbs. That feeling is your potential screaming at you. That pain, that's your purpose trying to wake you the hell up. Most ignore it, most numb it, most silence it with distractions, dopamine, and dead-end habits. But the few, they listen, they act. You weren't born to just survive. You weren't meant to rot in mediocrity, obeying orders from weak men in cubicles, trading your time for pennies. You're a builder, a conqueror. And if you don't feel like one right now, it's because life has beaten you down. They broke your rhythm. They convinced you that comfort is happiness, that safety is peace, that average is enough. But let me tell you something. The empire you want exists. It's waiting, but you must become the man capable of building it. No one is coming to rescue you. I don't care how sad your story is. You think you're the only one? Life doesn't hand out sympathy trophies. The world pays attention to power. And power is earned through struggle, sacrifice, and relentless movement. You can cry, you can complain, or you can build. It's supposed to be hard. It's meant to break the weak. You're not meant to feel good all the time. You're meant to win, and winning hurts. You will outgrow people. You will wake up alone sometimes, wondering if it's all worth it. That's the price. But on the other side, glory, power, respect. You will look back and thank the pain. Every sleepless night, every insult, every failure. Because without it, you wouldn't be the man you're becoming. You wouldn't be the builder of your empire. You see, the enemy isn't out there. It's not your parents. It's not the government. It's the comfort that strangles ambition. It's the fake friends who celebrate your stagnation so they don't feel inferior. Once the noise dies and the mission becomes clear, you'll be unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got harder. You don't need luck. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You don't need a fancy degree, a rich family. You just need to start. You just need to wake up and declare, I'm building my empire. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how hard it gets. I'm not quitting. I'm not waiting. I'm not hoping. I'm building. This life can be anything you want it to be, but not by accident, only by design. And design requires work. While others party, you plan. While they sleep, you strategize. While they mock, you multiply. That's how empires rise. Burn the bridges, crush the excuses, and start laying bricks. You were born to be more than a follower. You were born to dominate, to rule, to leave a legacy. That throne you dream about, it's not a fantasy, it's a blueprint. And you've got the tools. I started with nothing. Not the kind of nothing rich kids claim when they want to sound humble. I mean nothing. No connections, no safety net, just a battered laptop, a dying phone, and a hunger so vicious, hunger for freedom, hunger for power, hunger to never answer to another weak man for the rest of my life. I remember staring at the ceiling in a cold, dark room where the heat barely worked. My stomach was empty, but my mind was overflowing, not with fear, not with doubt, but with fire. I made a vow in that moment that changed my life forever. I will not be a spectator in this world while others live like kings. Every morning I woke up before the sun and reminded myself, your future self is watching, don't let him down. That voice became louder than every excuse I could ever invent. And trust me, it didn't come easy. Every day I was met with setbacks. I was told it's impossible. You need money to make money. You should get a real job. The world will throw its doubts on you like chains, but only you decide whether to wear them. I chose to be insane by society's standards. I didn't cry, I calculated. I didn't whine, I worked. Eventually things started to shift. Not because luck found me, but because I refused to quit. I was relentless. That's how you win, not with flair, but with obsession. I didn't need luck, I didn't need handouts, I needed pain, and I turned it into purpose. They see the result, the lifestyle, the strength, the influence, but they never see the war it took to create it. You keep telling yourself you need more time, more clarity, more confidence. You don't, you just need to move. Every empire begins with one step, not a perfect step, just a step. You think I knew everything? You think I had some magical plan? I didn't. I had willpower. I had a disgust for mediocrity so deep it poisoned every second I wasn't chasing greatness. And that's what fueled me. You have that same power buried inside you, but power unused becomes poison. If you don't dig it out, it'll rot you from the inside. You'll live your whole life knowing you could have been something but chose the easy road. The difference between a man who builds an empire and one who dies anonymous isn't talent, it's action. That's it. If you're waiting for the stars to align, for motivation to strike, for some magical moment of clarity, it's not coming. The empire you want will not be delivered. It must be constructed. Early morning by late night, failure by lesson. That's the process. You don't get it by hoping, you get it by bleeding. And you'll realize that everything they said you couldn't do was the exact reason you did it. Look around you. The man next to you at the gym, the guy sitting quietly in the coffee shop, the driver waiting at the light, they're all carrying the same disease, wasted potential. You can feel it in the air, that invisible heaviness, that dead energy, that silent suffering of men who once had dreams but now live as ghosts in their own bodies. And the scariest part, you're inches away from becoming one of them. You think opportunities will wait while you scroll, while you procrastinate, while you numb your discomfort with distractions. They won't. You don't understand how real this is. Life is a war, and you're either building your kingdom or you're being ruled by someone else's. I'll start next week. I'm not ready yet. I'm waiting for the right moment. Those are the lullabies that put your ambitions to sleep and lull your future into a coma. Wake up. There is no right moment. There is only now. And if you don't seize it with full aggression, someone else will. Someone else will wake up earlier, think sharper, and take the very thing you could have owned. You need to understand the cost of comfort. Every time you choose the couch over the grind, every time you silence your ambition to avoid judgment, every time you let fear dictate your decisions, you pay a tax. Not with money, but with destiny. That's the real horror, not failure. Wasted greatness. You could have been someone that reshaped history, inspired nations, led armies of men toward purpose, but instead you chose to scroll. You chose to drown in comfort and call it peace. You weren't born to survive. You weren't built to coast. You were forged for war, for struggle, for the unrelenting pursuit of empire. And if you ignore that voice, you will decay. You'll become one of those men who laugh on the outside and rot on the inside. You'll pretend everything's fine while your mind slowly dies from knowing you betrayed your own potential. Be afraid of waking up at 50 and realizing you spent your prime worshiping weakness, obeying mediocrity, and letting life slap you around like a slave. A man who fears being average will never settle for less than legendary. That's the mindset. That's the engine behind greatness. Don't numb it, embrace it. You are one decision away from changing your entire life. But that decision won't come when it's easy. It comes when it's painful, when your body screams rest and your mind whispers more. It comes when you feel like giving up but choose to keep swinging. You are not meant to be a consumer. You are meant to be a creator. Stop watching others build empires while you fantasize from the sidelines. That life you envy, that power you crave, it's on the other side of sacrifice. And the longer you delay, the more brutal the climb becomes. But if you begin now, every hour becomes a brick. And slowly, that empire you once only dreamed of becomes a reality. If you die today, will you die as a king or a coward? Would your story inspire or be forgotten? This moment is the battleground. This is where the empire is either born or buried. The reason most men stay broke, weak, and invisible is because they're addicted to temporary pleasure and allergic to long-term pressure. They want the result without the war, the crown without the scars, the throne without the battlefield. You don't get to rule anything unless you've bled for it. You need to show the world that you're not just another man wishing for a better life. You're the man building it. The future doesn't care how tired you are. It only cares if you show up and conquer it anyway. You're either attacking your goals or surrendering to weakness. There's no neutral ground in this game. So you better move like a man who knows time is his most dangerous enemy. You have to make a decision that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. You have to draw the line so deep that weakness doesn't dare to cross it. Tell yourself right now, I am not like them. There is a beast inside you that's been waiting for permission to rise, and this is the moment you let it out. You walk different when you have purpose. Every excuse you've made is just a chain around your neck. I don't have the money, then figure out how to make it. I don't have support, then become your own army. I don't know where to start, then start anywhere and refuse to stop. The difference between the man who wins and the man who watches is persistence. The refusal to give up when everything inside you screams to quit. That's where your kingdom is forged. Look around at the life you've got. You either created it or allowed it, and that means you have the power to change it. No situation is permanent. Your bank account, your body, your status, your reputation, it's all malleable. It bends to the will of the man who refuses to be average. The man who doesn't get distracted by noise, doesn't break under pressure, doesn't flinch when life punches him in the mouth. Stop chasing dopamine and start chasing dominion. Real men don't want applause, they want control. Control over their mind, their income, their destiny. Owning your time, commanding your path, becoming unbreakable. You can't build that by chasing likes or living for comfort. You build that by suffering with purpose, by turning fear into fuel. So run towards the fire. Let it mold you. Let it burn away every ounce of weakness until only the king remains. Every second you delay, your empire stays a fantasy. You're not waiting on the right time. You're just afraid to commit. But here's the truth. No one's going to hand you power. No one's going to build your vision for you. And no one's coming to save you. You either rise now or live on your knees forever. I don't care if you're broke, lost, or alone. Every empire began with a man who was hungry enough to change his fate. That man is you. 5 years from now, you'll either be a man with a crown or a man with regrets. No more doubt, no more delay, no more weakness. Get up and build your empire. Everything you've been taught about life, success, and happiness is a lie. From the moment you were born, society has been conditioning you to be weak. They tell you to be patient, to take your time, to be grateful for what you have. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself why? Why are they so desperate to keep you content with mediocrity? Because weak men are easy to control. Look around, look at the people in your life. How many of them are truly winning? How many are living the life you dream about? Almost none. And yet these same people are the ones giving you advice. Your broke friends tell you money isn't everything. Your out of shape coworkers tell you the gym doesn't matter. And like a fool, you listen. You allow their mindset to infect you, to keep you in the same pit they've settled for. The truth is, most people will never escape the loser mindset. They will spend their entire lives making excuses, blaming others, and convincing themselves that success is out of reach. Unless you start thinking for yourself, you will be one of them. The most dangerous thing in the world is not failure, it's comfort. The moment you start accepting good enough, you start dying, and that's exactly where you are right now. Deep down, you know you could be doing more. You know you're not pushing yourself. You know you are capable of greater things, yet every single day you settle. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. If you don't act now, you never will. The men who are winning at the highest level got there because they made a decision. A decision to push beyond their limits, to reject weakness, to embrace the struggle. They didn't wait for motivation. They forced themselves to become great. And that is exactly what you need to do. Ask yourself, are you truly doing everything in your power to win? The answer is obvious. And until you change it, your life will remain exactly as it is. The biggest lie you've ever been told is that life will somehow improve on its own. That if you just wait, if you stay patient, if you trust the process, things will eventually fall into place. That is how weak men stay weak, how the masses remain powerless while a small group of individuals dominate the world. You see it everywhere, people dragging themselves through life, stuck in the same miserable routine, completely unaware that they are the architects of their own failure. They complain about their circumstances, blame external forces, and convince themselves that they are victims. But what have they actually done to change? Nothing. You need to understand something. Mediocrity is not an accident, it is a choice. It is the direct result of laziness, weak discipline, and a refusal to demand more from yourself. You have accepted less than what you are capable of. And as long as you keep making excuses, as long as you keep lying to yourself, nothing will ever change. You will wake up 10 years from now in the same position with the same regrets, wondering why success never came to you, because you never earned it. So the question is simple. Are you ready to destroy the weak version of yourself, to reject comfort, to attack life with an unrelenting hunger for success? Or will you keep waiting, keep hesitating, keep letting fear and laziness control you? The decision is yours, but understand this, time is running out. One day, you'll wake up and realize you've wasted years, maybe even decades, chasing comfort instead of chasing greatness. And at that point, regret will consume you like a disease. The worst pain in life isn't failure. It's knowing you never even tried. You need to bury the weak, undisciplined, excuse-making mindset that has been holding you back, because that version of you is your greatest enemy. It is the voice that justifies every bad decision, every missed opportunity, and if you don't destroy it, it will destroy you. The men who win in life are not the ones who had the best circumstances. They're the ones who refuse to quit, who forced themselves to get up and work even when they didn't feel like it. And because they acted, they won. You have always had the ability to rise above the masses and carve out a life that most people can only dream of. But potential means nothing if you don't act on it. If you keep making the same weak decisions, your life will remain exactly as it is. But if you choose to change, if you commit to the path of discipline and action, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Be honest, do you wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and feel proud of the person staring back at you? Or do you feel disgusted? Do you feel like a failure? You know exactly why your life is stuck in the same miserable cycle, and yet you keep doing the same pathetic things day after day, expecting something to change. You want success, you want respect, you want to escape this loser existence you built for yourself, then earn it.
It's difficult to think of a scenario where being brave would be a negative mindset for you to be able to tap into, because bravery affords new options you haven't previously considered. If you're a coward, you don't have certain options on the chessboard. But if you are brave, you can analyze these moves. So you have a whole bunch of moves that most people don't have. Most people do not have the bravery to consider alternate paths. So bravery is an extremely important skill to hone, because you should often sit and think, what would be the bravest decision I could make in this scenario? And consider it. I'm not saying do it, but you should get in the mental model of considering it. Because quite often when you're a coward, brave decisions don't even cross your mind. So you need to train your mind to consider bravery, because bravery is something that is going to universally apply throughout your life. It doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor. Having the option to be extremely brave and consider the options which are afforded only to a brave person is going to be something which is always going to benefit you. So it's very important that you consider and think about bravery as a whole, something I want you to hone. Who should you be before you become rich? Well, money is an amplifier. Money's not going to change who you are, it's going to amplify who you are. If you're a good person, it'll make you a very good person. If you're a weak person, it'll make you very weak and cowardly and scared. If you're a strong person, it'll make you very brave. So you actually kind of have to hope that you don't get rich too early before you've struggled enough, because men are built on the back of struggle. No man who has not struggled is a good man or good at being a man. But don't worry, I think God has a plan for you. You should be trying your absolute best to get rich all of the time. And all of those lessons that will come with all the suffering and the difficulty will be amplified by the time you're a multimillionaire and you'll become the best version of yourself. That's how you become a top G. Guys, money is easy. Women are easy. The life you want is easy. All you have to do is fall in love with the work. Fall in love with being good at doing your work, getting it done, never missing a day. Because the easiest way to make sure you never miss a lucky day is to try every single day. And you're never going to know if you have a lucky day or not unless you try every single day. Then you're never going to miss any lucky days. And you're going to realize it wasn't actually that difficult. All it took was consistency, never being lazy, and doing everything I'm supposed to do properly. You're going to get exactly what you deserve in life. From women, financially, luck. You get the luck you deserve. If you try your very best in all things, and you pray, and you're really thankful to God, and you say thank you all the time, you start to become very lucky. You get the luck you deserve when you try. Competence is extremely important. That's the masculine world. Don't let losers and brokies sit and say to you, oh, all our graves are the same, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. You were not born to suffer and die without being remembered or leaving a mark on this planet. You were born to do something great and to be remembered. Your bloodline becomes synonymous with competence and capability. That's why you were born. The reason the male peacock shows its feathers is to say, look what I have. That's what built the modern world. All of the explorers who risked their lives on the 7 seas did it to say, look what I did. The cathedrals, all these things that were built by men saying, look what we have done. We have done something other people cannot do. Don't be confused. You don't want to flex asininities. You want to flex capabilities. Look what I can do, which others cannot do. And respect often lies on the other side of fear. If there's a decision that everybody's afraid to do, but you do it, that is what's going to get you respected by your peers. It's very easy for you to become the best version of yourself if all the men around you are pushing you all of the time. This is why even boxers, although they fight alone, they train as part of a camp with other boxers. You're always pushing yourself all of the time. That's the primary objective of masculinity, is to leave your mark on the world. And it's easiest to do that if you have brothers behind you who are pushing you to be your best self. So you've made 100 grand. You're still poor. That's nothing. It is my cigar bill for a month. It's nothing. You need to compare yourself always and constantly to somebody who is outperforming you. This is what they teach inside of common pop psychology classes. Yeah, and take the small success and be happy with it. And no, that's not what you should do. The fact you could have a little tiny success and quit shows that there's something wrong with your mentality and your firmware in the first place. I don't consider myself successful. All I do is work. I work 7 days a week. So I don't understand this mindset. And you see a lot of people do it, right? They'll say, oh yeah, I had a really great week and I made some money and now I'm in Costa Rica. You're never going to win that way. The kind of people who become truly rich are the people who work every day no matter what, which is why all of the people who are truly rich are workaholics, because it's the only way to really get there. The point I'm making is you need to fall in love with being happy with yourself for how hard you've dedicated yourself to a task. Relaxing is probably the most boring thing you can possibly say for me to do. Say, Andrew, do you want to go relax? I say, what do I do? Stare at a wall? I don't want to relax. I want to work. That's all I want to do is work. If I just relax, nothing's been achieved, so I don't see the point of it. It doesn't even relax me. In fact, it makes me very anxious. And he said, well, it sounds like you have an anxiety disorder. If it's a disorder that allows me to constantly work all of the time and never be happy unless all of my work is complete, thank God I have it, because if I didn't have this disorder, I'd be a normal jackass like you. You guys are truly running out of time. It's very important that you get your act together quickly. Don't be talking about headaches. Don't be arguing with women. You have things to do. Anxiety sounds like free energy. Could give me more. Absolutely. Nervousness is free energy. You need to sit at home and feel this fire inside of you because you do not have all of the money you want, all of the respect you want, and your name has not been echoed into eternity. It's down to you. I can't drag you across the finish line. I can only show you where the race is. I can take you to the start line. I can tell you you can do it. I can tell you it is worth it, but you have to be the one to run the race. I can't carry you. There's going to be a huge contingent of the populace that never make it. But when you do, it is worth it. The point of being a man in the first place is so that you suffer enough for people to remember you, to die for something, to live for something. That's the whole point in all of this.
Am I hard on myself? Yes. Does that benefit me? I believe so. I'm hard on myself because life is hard. If someone were to say to me, do you want an easy life? I'd say, that sounds boring. I mean, did Genghis Khan want an easy life? If I meet a man and he says, I want an easy life, I just want a stress-free life, I look at him and think you're born to lose. Because you're not made to, life is war, and it's gonna be stressful. Life is war, every single aspect of life is war. Trying to get a girl that the other guy wants is war. Trying to buy a Ferrari that everybody else can't afford is war. I see war everywhere. When I see a big, beautiful oak tree, I don't see a big, beautiful oak tree. I see a tree that destroyed all the saplings around it and crushed them mercilessly. Life is war. So am I hard on myself? Yes. Will that change? No. Perhaps most men would benefit from being a lot harder on themselves. I think I see a lot of men coming up with a lot of excuses for permanent failure. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's hard for everybody, and you're going to have to just be harder on yourself and pull it off. I mean, we all know that there's always someone who has it worse. I mean, we're in Romania. You can drive 5 hours to the border, and you'll find men in a ditch getting blown apart by drones. You're crying over what? Some chick who doesn't love you anymore? And you're not going to do your work because of it? Well, then you're just born to lose. I guess the only disadvantage of being so hard on myself is that I'm extremely hard on others. They'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, I do not give. It has to be done at this time. And I guess I can be ruthless, but why would I have sympathy for somebody else I don't have for myself? If I'm going to be so strict on myself, why would I allow sympathy for others? I'm not looking for sympathy on any level. I blame myself for absolutely everything. Even this Matrix attack. I ran my mouth on the internet for a very long time. I pissed off very important, powerful people. And they put me in a jail cell. You run your mouth and you piss people off, they're going to try and teach you a lesson. That's how the world works. Like, I'm not going to sit there and feel sorry for myself. Am I afraid? The reason I'm not afraid is because I don't see any other choice. If you refuse to fight in a war, you don't eliminate wars, you only eliminate yourself. And they're coming for all of us. They're not just coming for me. They're coming for any single person who has a degree of sovereignty about their mindset. They're coming for anyone who refuses to believe the slave programming, for anyone who wants to have a happy family and a good life, for anyone who has a degree of individualism. They're coming for all of us, and they're trying to make us all slaves. I'm a primary target. But they're not just coming for me, they're coming for absolutely everybody else. And I don't see why it would be prudent for me to sit and say, oh, well, they might kill me if I continue to talk, so I'll just shut up. And then maybe they'll kill me later. I'll feel happier in myself knowing that, no, I went down guns blazing. And I know that's coming. They're gonna put a bullet in all our heads. Do you understand? At least I get to die first. At least they remember my name. If we all have to jump off the cliff, at least I get to go first. Andrew Tate went first. The only way to stay alive as a man now is to not be a man anymore.
Be a slave, be a slave, be a slave. Every single government in the world is interested in control. That's all they've ever wanted. They think of us as sheep. They want us to comply. They don't want our individuality. So they want us to just sit there and obey like robots.
So am I afraid? It's kind of like, are you afraid of being struck by lightning if you go outside? What can you do about it? You either fight against this garbage they're trying to inject into everybody's minds, or you believe all the garbage they tell you and you're at war against yourself. So what's the choices? You're gonna fight something. I'd rather fight my enemies than fight myself. My only weapon against all of these people and all this garbage is to smile. And that resilience is how I fight against them, because I believe this is a spiritual war more than anything else. And it's all done on purpose to deliberately attack masculinity. It's not safe to be a man. You can't be a man. Every single man watching this podcast is guilty. You're all manipulative, you're all controlling, you're all emotionally abusive, and they will find some girl who said, he emotionally coerced me because he wouldn't let me go drinking with a bunch of men, and she'll do a domestic violence report, even though you've never touched her. They'll also find the time you sold your t-shirt on eBay and didn't pay taxes. And you, sir, are going to jail. If you are a man, you are guilty of everything all of the time. You're living in a state of society as a man now, where you're all permanently, your head's on the chopping block. And the only way you could not have the guillotine come down and take it off, is to be quiet and meek. And that's the world we're living in now. And the crazy thing about it, there are still 30% of people out there who believe Andrew Tate became the most famous, most Googled man in the world speaking against government and authority. Put him in jail because he's a human trafficker. There are people that stupid. And these people get to vote. These people are teachers. These people are lawyers. People are police officers. Sit me down with the average police officer and let me talk to him for 5 minutes, and I'll prove to you conclusively that they are stupid. And they're in charge of your life. Give me the average primary school teacher on a Monday morning after she's been drinking all weekend, and let's sit her down and see who's educating our children. Clown world. Clown world.
Kill who you've been. Act like the future is already yours. The man you're afraid to become, he's already inside you. You've just been too weak, too scared to let him out. But today, you kill the coward pretending to be you. The truth is, most people live as strangers to themselves. Not because they don't want more, but because they've been trained like obedient dogs to believe that they are fixed. That their personality, their habits, their failures, they're part of their DNA. That's the biggest lie the world sells you, that you're stuck with who you are. You're not stuck. You're just scared to destroy the version of yourself that feels safe, even if that version is quietly murdering your potential every single day. You've been taught to find yourself, like your best version is hidden under a rock, waiting for you to stumble on it while scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m. You don't find yourself, you forge yourself. You eliminate the man who wakes up dreading life and you replace him with someone who commands it. Your old self isn't broken, it's obsolete. And yet you defend it. You protect your insecurities like they're sacred. You justify your procrastination with mental gymnastics. You look in the mirror and see a prisoner, not realizing you're the guard, the cell, and the key. All at once. Most men will die as versions of themselves they never respected. And that should terrify you. If the thought of remaining who you are for the rest of your life doesn't shake your soul, then you're already lost. Because deep down, you know there's a version of you who speaks with fire, who walks like a storm, who commands respect without raising his voice. You've seen glimpses of him. In moments where you acted without fear, stood tall in chaos, made a decision with absolute certainty, he showed up, and then you buried him because the world told you that standing out was dangerous, that confidence was arrogance, that power was toxic. A weakness is toxic, and you've been addicted to it because it feels safe, predictable, easy. But comfort is the cage, and you've been living like a pet when you were born a predator. Who you are is not who you must remain. That one sentence can rip open your reality if you let it. Your habits are not you. Your failures are not final. Your fears are not facts. But here's the catch. You have to kill the coward before you can crown the king. And it won't feel like inspiration. It'll feel like death, because transformation is always violent. Rewriting your identity means letting go of the traits you've used to survive, the excuses, the trauma, the stories. You have to become the person who would rather burn than live another day playing small. That's the gateway. You don't tiptoe into greatness, you erupt into it. So when I say become the man you fear you can't be, I'm not saying pretend. I'm saying evolve with brutality. Move like you already are him. Think like he thinks. Speak like he speaks. Make choices that the future you would applaud, not regret. That's how identity is rewritten. Not with hope, not with vision boards, but with force. And don't you dare wait until you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. No one arrives at power fully prepared. They step into it raw, trembling, unsure, and they earn the right to belong by refusing to retreat. The moment you rewrite who you are is the moment you become your own savior. The world will resist. Your friends won't understand. Your old self will scream for mercy. But if you hold the line, you'll wake up one day and not recognize the man in the mirror. Not because he's unfamiliar, but because he's finally who you were meant to be all along. Understand this, power isn't given, it's taken. Identity isn't discovered, it's built. I wasn't walking into rooms with fire in my eyes. I was dragging my feet, hiding my power, apologizing for wanting more. I didn't speak with certainty. I questioned myself before every move, every word. I was addicted to hesitation. And the worst part, I convinced myself that this was just who I was. Because every time I saw a man who had what I wanted, I felt rage. Not envy, but rage. Not because he had it, but because I knew I was supposed to be him, and I wasn't. I wasn't living as the man I was born to become. I was surviving as a watered-down version of someone I didn't even respect. One day I snapped. Not in a Hollywood movie kind of way. There was no music, no spotlight, no applause, just silence. I had to start talking different. I had to walk like I owned the ground I stepped on. I had to show up every day like the man I feared I couldn't be, until the world had no choice but to treat me as him. And I don't think it was easy. It was torture at times. The voices in your head don't shut up when you change. They scream louder. The doubt doesn't vanish, it mutates. I told myself, if I die trying to become the man I was meant to be, that's a life well spent. But if I live as a shadow, I'm already dead. There was a point where I stopped recognizing myself in the best way possible. I started speaking differently. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was speaking like a man who believed every word. I began moving through life with calculated aggression. Every action had weight. Every choice aligned with my future self. That's when I realized the key: you don't wait until you feel like that man. You act as if you already are him. You walk like you're unstoppable long enough and people start to believe you are. But more importantly, you believe it. And once you believe it, it's over for the weak version of you. That's the part people miss. Becoming him isn't about revenge, fame, or applause. It's about fulfilling your own prophecy, about honoring the version of you that's been locked away behind years of fear and doubt. It's about unleashing him, not once, but every single day until there's no trace left of who you used to be. That's freedom from the lie that your past defines your future. From the belief that change needs permission. No, change needs commitment. You become the man you fear you can't be by refusing to return to the man you know you've outgrown. You don't try. You declare war on everything inside you that doubts your right to evolve. So if you're still waiting for the perfect time, understand this: it never comes. The only thing that arrives is regret, and he's a brutal companion. If you commit with everything inside you, you'll look back and realize the man you once feared you couldn't be became the only man you ever respected. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that sick feeling in your stomach when you realize time's slipping through your fingers and you're still the same? Not because you're lazy, but because deep down, you're terrified of becoming powerful. You say you want it, you shout about it, you wear the clothes and repost the quotes. But when it comes time to shed your skin and walk into the fire, you hesitate, you stall, and then you lie to yourself. You say you're thinking, you're planning, you're almost ready. You're not, you're scared. Because becoming the man you fear you can't be means killing the man you're comfortable being. You're not stuck because the world's unfair. You're stuck because you're still trying to drag your past into your future. You think you can keep your habits, your circle, your thoughts, and still rise? You think you can take your softness with you into war? You can't. You either evolve or you evaporate. This isn't motivation. This is survival. And the most brutal part of all this is that your future self is watching you every day, quietly, waiting, judging, dying slowly while you procrastinate, hesitate, negotiate. You don't have infinite time. You think you do, but one day you'll wake up and realize the man you could have become died the moment you chose distraction over domination, right? And that's a grave you'll have to visit alone. Don't give him oxygen. Let him suffocate. That voice that tells you to rest, to wait, to settle, it's not your intuition, it's your enemy. There is no rewind button, no reset. The pain of regret will always outweigh the pain of discipline. And one day you're gonna realize that the life you wanted was never stolen, it was simply never claimed. Every day you hesitate, someone else gets ahead. Every hour you spend doubting yourself, someone else is becoming everything you're afraid to become. And the scariest part, they're not better. Stop needing validation. Stop seeking permission. Stop apologizing for chasing a life that makes average men uncomfortable. This path isn't supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to stretch your soul until it rips. And when it rips, you build muscle where the tear used to be. That's where confidence is born, not from comfort, not from compliments, but from discipline under pressure. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your invitation. The man you dream of becoming isn't hiding from pain, he's forged by it. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to wake up with regret. You were never meant to apologize for ambition or feel guilty for being different. That discomfort in your chest every night when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, that's not anxiety. That's not depression. That's your soul screaming there is more, but you keep muting it. You keep numbing it with distractions, telling yourself you'll fix it one day. But one day is a lie that thieves use to steal your greatness without a sound. Let me say this clearly so it echoes in your mind until you act on it. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no friend, no miracle, no second chance. It's on you now, all of it. And the scariest part, you've always had the power, but that fear was always the test. It's not the enemy, it's the gatekeeper. And only those who face it, who push past it with force, who walk into the storm instead of running from it, ever reach the other side. You just need to stop waiting. You just need to become him. The man who terrified you because deep down you always knew he was possible. He's not a dream. He's not a fantasy. He's not someone else. He's you.